Okay, speaking of that relief, the special CBI court in Lucknow has granted bail to BJP stalwarts like Advani, Murli Manohar Joshi and Bharti along with the others. And the court has reserved its order on the framing of charges against them. The accused, in fact, were granted bail on a personal bond of 20,000 rupees. The defence, in fact, has argued that all the charges against them be dropped. In fact, Advani, well, he failed to climb the stairs to the court. He is 89 years old after all, but his attendance was registered. He is being accompanied by his daughter, as you can see on your visuals. He was personally greeted by the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh, Yogi Adityanath, as well. A special CBI court has been hearing the case and had even summoned Advani along with the others in Lucknow today. There were also BJP leaders Vinay Katiyar, VHP's Vishnu Hari Dalmia and Sadhvi Ratambra. This after the Supreme Court just only recently revived the criminal conspiracy charges framed against them on the 19th of April.
जितने लोग आए थे माननीय अडवाणी जी, जोशी जी, सभी लोग निजी मुजलके पे छूट गए हैं। डिस्चार्ज एप्लीकेशन बचाव पक्ष की तरफ से हम लोगों ने मूव किया था। डिस्चार्ज एप्लीकेशन पर कोर्ट ने अभी जजमेंट लिखा रही है। वो अगर अलाउ करते हैं तो मुकदमा नहीं चलेगा और डिस्चार्ज पे अगर उसको रिजेक्ट करते हैं तो चार्ज फ्रेम होंगे। डिस्चार्ज एप्लीकेशन पे हमने वही कहा है जो पहले भी कहते रहे हैं कि इन लोगों का कोई मेड आउट केस नहीं होता है। इनका बाबरी स्ट्रक्चर के विध्वंस में किसी तरह से योगदान नहीं था। ये लगातार क्राउड को रोक रहे थे, यही हमारा कहना है।
Okay, let me go straight across now to our guest Shazia Almi joining us from the BJP and Ghanshyam Tiwari from the Samajwadi Party. Good afternoon and welcome on the broadcast. Shazia Almi, let me come to you first. I was speaking about just how the Supreme Court in a landmark judgment had reinstated the criminal conspiracy charges against all of the accused, and yet we didn't see Bharti resigning from the post of the Water Resources Minister. Instead, she seems to be taking immense pride. Now, by your own admission, you do say that there was massive mobilization, but why does the BJP negate the communal violence and the communal rioting that followed thereafter that led to the death of 2,000 people?
Well, let me put some facts on the table.
Yes.
First of all, this case has been pending for the last 25 years. It is the CBI. It is the CBI itself that went 2 years back, after 25 years had passed, to the Supreme Court asking for the inclusion of conspiracy charges. So CBI was not acting like a cage parrot as it did during UPA's time, but actually went ahead. And so at least one thing we know, that investigation is going on, and CBI has been completely committed and steadfast and consistent in this way. What happened next? The charges were those of conspiracy. So Bharti ji is saying that there was garnering, there was mobilization, and that is there in the public domain. But was there a conspiracy in place?
Okay, Mr. Ghanshyam Tiwari, that's the question. Why blame only the BJP? Isn't it the failure of successive governments to, ensure justice to those who had lost their loved ones in that very horrific incident that took place in 1992? Because even the CBI was reprimanded just only recently by the Supreme Court.
Well, the matter is in the court and I'll not want to comment on the matter. Hundreds of witnesses have to be examined.
Yes.
What Shazia Almi was just saying is false logic and a white lie. When she says it was a medieval structure which was almost a temple, why would they demolish it? There cannot be a bigger lie than this. When she says that she knows that there was a mobilization as if it was a freedom movement, right? There was a mobilization, but there was no conspiracy to demolish the structure. That is a white lie. And then when she ignores the fact that hundreds of lives were lost as a result of this, thousands of people were displaced, she demonstrates an inhuman intent by in some way supporting this thing. Coming to this particular case, I am more worried about the way Yogi Adityanath ji, the current Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh, led this entire procession in the morning.
Why does that worry you?
Almost like burning an effigy of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. In Uttar Pradesh, it worries me because in Uttar Pradesh, in every district, you can find a mini Yogi Adityanath or a mini Advani ready to build a political capital of from a temple and mosque issue. It worries me because in Saharanpur, the entire district is burning because the Dalits wanted to place the statue of Baba Bhim Rao Ambedkar in the temple, in the
with regards to the Babri
and it was not allowed. So when
no,
you
sir,
play
let's
with
just
fire,
not speak of
fire
Saharanpur
does not
right
have
now.
a religion. It will fan. Yes. I'm not speaking of Saharanpur, but what I'm speaking about is when you play with temple politics,
and all the fights that have happened.
It will go in many ways. When you try to
Shazia Ilmi, how do you respond to Mr. Tiwari's accusations against the BJP, specifically against you, of putting up a false logic and just speaking white lies, saying that how can the BJP saying that all of those involved in the demolition of the Babri Masjid are in fact part of a movement that they take immense pride in?
Well, because the whole movement was for the construction of Ram Mandir, and the BJP itself is saying, and we heard this Mahant Vedanti say, and Subramaniam Swami say that this was never a mosque, this was a temple. Why would they conspire to break down their own medieval structure, which they believe is a temple? Think about it. Is there any logic in it? That's the point I'm making. The point I'm making is that there was no conspiracy in place.
Yes.
The idea was to garner support for the Ram Mandir, which is a belief of many people, but there was no planning, deliberations done to bring it down, which happened spontaneously.
Yes, let Mr. Tiwari respond to that. Shazia, we're just having an issue there with your audio. Mr. Tiwari, please respond.
Is it linked to the criminal intent of conspiracy by the BJP stalwarts to make that happen?
The false logic and white lie of Shazia Ilmi is right there. She says this was a movement for construction of temple. The temple could not have been constructed without the demolition of this structure. Now the entire BJP, including Mr. Advani and including Shazia, is not ready to own the responsibility of demolition of this structure. And she says everybody believed this structure was a temple. If this structure was a temple, why would hundreds of people die in riots that happened after that, and thousands of people will be displaced? This is absolute lie, and I am surprised that an educated and erudite person like Shazia Ilmi is coming on national TV and propagating this lie.
No, but Uma Bharti says that she has done no wrong, Mr. Tiwari. She's saying why should she resign from the post of minister when the charges of conspiracy haven't been proved just as yet. In fact, we're just waiting for that order to come about, the discharge application that has been put forth by their lawyers. She's saying that she has done no wrong. In fact, has likened the movement to what happened during the emergency. In fact, putting the blame on the Congress for the anti-Sikh riots as well.
Well, at no time rioters say that they did the wrong thing. The rioters would always say that they did the right thing because they are fanned by fanatics and they want to hold the high moral ground among those fanatics. But clearly the Supreme Court is saying that there was a conspiracy. This conspiracy led to a demolition of this structure, and which led to riots across the country where hundreds of people died and thousands of people were displaced. Somebody has to be responsible. If LK Advani led that movement, well, BJP can gloat over the political capital they can gain out of it, but do not forget that such political capital does not last.
Okay.
Tomorrow Dalits will say that we want Baba Bhimrao Ambedkar statue in every temple. Would you be able to stop them?
Okay, so Mr. Ghanshyam Tiwari, I'll just ask Shazia Ilmi to respond.
It will create more riots in different states.
All right, I'll just ask her to respond as well. Before I do that, we're just going to play out the reaction from Zafar Yab Dilani as well on the bail that has been granted to all of the accused on a personal bond of 20,000 rupees.
Grant of bail is not at all something which can be said that it was unexpected. But the main thing was that they have to be charged, and they can be charged only when they are present. So today's presence was required only for framing of charges.
Okay, Mr. Ghanshyam Tiwari, we're just fixing that audio there with Shazia Ilmi. But, speaking of these charges that will be leveled against the accused, if at all the discharge application is rejected. Now, it's interesting. Sakshi Maharaj, who came out of the court, said that this is a waste of his time. Ye samay ki barbadi hai. Isn't it the failure of successive governments? I'll ask you that again. And of various other political parties, over the last 25 years, to see that this case has been dragging on. Justice has still not been given to those who had lost their loved ones in that very, unfortunate incident that had taken place. It seems that the BJP is not at all worried. In fact, they're taking immense pride. There is no trace of any remorse or repentance whatsoever. No, if they could, they would repeat it. And as far as whether it is a failure of successive governments, absolutely it is.
In today's day and age, we cannot sit behind and hide behind politics to say that we were successful. If cases like these are delayed, this is a systemic failure, and politics plays a role in it. But now that Supreme Court has taken charge, now that charges are being framed, let us not gloat over false logic and propaganda that everything that happened on that fateful day happened by chance, by accident. Such mobilization happened by accident. We wanted to build a temple, but we could not have built it without the structure was demolished. But the demolition happened by accident and was not, and we were all trying to protect that structure rather than enable it to demolish.
Okay,
there are
so
hundreds of witnesses who will go in court and testify that this is not the case.
Okay, so Shazia Almi is back with us now, and I'm going to go to her straight. Shazia, please respond. We're having a bit of an issue there with your audio, but please respond to what Mr. Tiwari is saying, accusing the BJP of white lies, saying that there was a deliberate attempt to raise the structure that year.
Well, he can say as much as he wants, but the fact of the matter is that all the facts are there in the court. There were depositions made in the Liberhan Commission. This matter has been going on. Not once did his government his party ever come out, or even the Congress party, asking for the matter to be fast-tracked. It was a CBI no less than 2 years back which asked for it to be revisited, because in one of the courts the charges were dropped. So that just shows how CBI was being used at that time and how independent it is now, and that our leaders are ready to face the trial. Uma Bharti said very clearly, if indeed the charges are to be this thing, I take responsibility. But I will not go back on the statement. I did not conspire for the medieval structure to be raised. And also, if the BJP believes, as Mr. Ghanshyam himself is saying, that it was indeed a temple and not a mosque, why would they conspire to bring down the temple? Doesn't make any sense. And Ghanshyam, you talked about white lies and propaganda.
Yes, that is the propaganda I'm talking about.
People died.
So,
do you ever take responsibility for how Malyana
that it was a temple, Shazia, I am very disappointed. If you can say on national TV that what was demolished was a temple and it was demolished by accident, it is shocking.
Okay, let me also bring in...
continue to...
so see, but your argument is defeated.
Let me bring in the lawyer of the Supreme Court, Aishwarya Bhatti, now joining us for more on that.
You are making political... You are making political capital. Well, I am saying the kind of political capital he made out of the demolition of the structure is unprecedented. No political leader would use the sentiment of Muslims to catapult himself into power, make money, loot the people of UP, you loot and actually suck the blood of Muslims on this issue, like Mulayam Singh Yadav and his party.
No, and Mr. Tiwari, Mulayam Singh Yadav, by his own admission, said that he was very pained. He was pained to have taken that decision.
And riots happened by chance.
Mr. Tiwari, Mulayam Singh Yadav, in fact, speaks of that incident quite openly. He says that he was personally pained to have taken that decision himself.
Well, what is wrong when he says that he was personally pained? But what Shazia is just saying, that it was a movement like freedom movement to construct a temple by demolishing another temple, and it was by accident that movement led to demolition of this so-called temple in the eyes of Shazia Ilmi, and it was by chance, by foolishness, that people rioted, hundreds of people died, and thousands of people were displaced, and it was buffoonery that this matter is playing out in the court.
Don't put your silly words in my mouth.
All of this is a drama.
Don't put your words in my mouth.
But the reality is, a union minister
would have happened in 1990 and in 1992.
I speak of facts. Don't put words in my mouth.
Lost their lives. I just request words in my mouth. Okay, learn to let me just bring in Aishwarya Bhatti also now. Aishwarya, thanks so much for speaking to us. Now, we are hearing from the special CBI court that all of the accused have been given bail on a personal bond of 20,000 rupees. What can we expect next? We're also hearing that the defense lawyers, in fact, have now filed a discharge application before the court, who have reserved its order.
So, Avantika, framing of charges is a very important and significant step in the initiation of the trial.
Yes.
In the criminal justice system, in the criminal jurisprudence, after the charge sheet is filed before the trial court, then the trial court, looks at how much is the evidence that's available, primary evidence, secondary evidence. And in this case, there are essentially three substantive sections under which the charge sheet was filed, 153A, 153B, 505, read with 120B. Now, 120B is the charge of criminal conspiracy, which was initially, not found maintainable by the trial court, and then interfered by the Allahabad High Court also. But the Supreme Court, in the recent judgment, set it aside and said that criminal conspiracy charge was wrongly dropped. And in that judgment, there were directions made for the trial to start quickly.
And the court strongly rebuked and reprimanded the CBI as well, ma'am.
It was bound to happen. It was an incident of 1992. Criminal jurisprudence and criminal justice system cannot function if the trials don't begin for, this has become a high-profile case, but look at it from any other criminal jurisprudence point of view. If 1992 a crime has alleged of, it is bad for the accused persons, it is bad for the system, it is bad for the victims, it is bad for everybody. So trial had not begun. Supreme Court had to rebuke because 1992 offence happens and trial has not begun. So framing of charge today is a very important, significant step for setting the trial on motion. But yes, discharge is seeking discharge is one of the options that is available to the accused persons after framing of charges. So they can definitely file that application and then also move it to the higher courts. But I think my gut feel is that since the Supreme Court has said important things about this case, and now it has already been delayed so much, I think it is in everybody's interest that the trial is completed quickly. And let me tell you, framing of charge is an important thing, but criminal justice system requires every crime to be proved.
And the Supreme Court holding the CBI responsible for the delay in this case. It has been delayed for 25 years now. Aishwarya Shazia and Mr. Ghanshyam Tiwari, I'll just request all of you to stay. What is happening in the Lucknow court? Remember, the BJP veteran leaders, LK Advani, Murli Manohar Joshi and Bharti today made their appearance in the Lucknow court, and they have now been granted bail on a personal bond of 20,000 rupees. But what's important is that the lawyers have demanded that all the charges be dropped against them. They've already filed a discharge application before the court, which has reserved its order. We're expecting their judgment anytime soon now. But Ghanshyam Tiwari of the Samajwadi Party, along with Shazia Ilmi from the BJP, and senior Supreme Court lawyer Aishwarya Bhatti is with us. And Mr. Ghanshyam Tiwari, Bharti, in fact, when that landmark judgment came about to reopen the criminal trial, saying that she had done no wrong, there was no conspiracy involved, everything was done in public domain, and conspiracy is when something is being done clandestinely or is being done behind the doors or secretly. She says that she has done no wrong and will continue to go on with this movement and sacrifice her life if it comes to it, for the construction of the Ram Temple. Your response?
Well, that is a depressing statement on two counts. One, a union minister and such a senior leader is telling a lie. And two, she is the union minister for water resources at a time when millions of farmers are dying. There is a large-scale farm distress and irrigation facilities are not available. She is not worried about them, but she is worried about the Ram Temple. She would rather focus on the Ram Temple issue and leave that ministry. As far as her statement is concerned, on conspiracy, as far as her statement on conspiracy is concerned, what is conspiracy? Conspiracy is when your actions and words don't match. Your words were that you are protecting the structure, but your actions were you are encouraging people to demolish that structure. That is what the accusation is, and that is what hundreds of witnesses are going to testify in the court, and that is why Honorable Supreme Court has said the conspiracy charges has to be incorporated. So,
Shazia, Shazia, the Supreme Court obviously would have seen something, right? Wrong, the Supreme Court, yes, did drop those conspiracy charges against all of the accused in 2001, something that was also upheld by the Allahabad High Court in 2010. But the charge against the BJP is that they will deliberately use the cause of Ayodhya to keep the Hindutva pot boiling, that they are only out there to, garner maximum coverage and interest with regards to this particular issue, something that had led to widespread communal violence and rioting in that particular year.
No, but as for talking about widespread violence, let me take you right from Bhagalpur to Nelli to Malyana and Hashimpura. So I can talk about that, but I will not. I will talk. Let me finish, please. Bolne dijiye auro ko. You keep on interrupting and rambling all the time. So the point that I wish to make is that the fact is that the court will only listen to arguments, to logic, to depositions and to actual documentary evidence of what happened. Now, if the idea was to demolish a structure, it has to be proven beyond doubt that it did happen. As for making political mileage or capital of it, we all know what political mileage Samajwadi Party made of it. So them calling BJP, liars doesn't make sense. And if you have to counter every argument that is being made, you have to use facts. You can't say she's telling a lie, he's telling a lie. That makes it very pathetic and sad.
That why shouldn't Uma Bharti step down as the water resources minister? She's facing charges of
I'll answer that question. I'll answer that question. I'll answer.
Mr. Tiwari, let her
so
finish,
you see,
please.
when there was, yes, I want to answer that. Yes, I want to answer that. So you see, when there was a Jain Hawala matter in Mr. Advani's case, he actually said that unless there's a probe, let me be out of it. But here, right from the beginning, the charges have not been made on conspiracy. And conspiracy is the angle that is the proceedings are dealing with in this particular matter. So if Uma Bharti was not responsible for a conspiracy, why should she resign? It was Mr. Advani ji and somebody like him who actually said that don't have unless and until I'm clean in the Hawala matter, I will not hold any office. So those standards have been set, and in case there is a charge sheet, then ask BJP and they will answer and act according to legality and constitutional morality.
Okay, Mr. Ghanshyam Tiwari,
it is the CBI which actually works under the government, which brought the case up again.
To respond and report to what Shazia Almi had to say. We'll just have to relief coming in for the BJP veterans LK Advani and Murli Manohar Joshi and the other accused in the Babri demolition case, with a special CBI court in Lucknow granting a bail to LK Advani, Murli Manohar Joshi and Uma Bharti and reserving its order on framing of charges against them. Now, their lawyers, in fact, have demanded that all charges against the accused be dropped, filing a discharge application. The court reserving its order. The accused were granted bail on a personal bond of 20,000 rupees each. The defense, in fact, has argued that all charges against them needs to be dropped. And aging Advani, in fact, what we hear, failed to climb the stairs to the court. He's 89 years old, but his attendance was registered as well. A special CBI court, for the benefit of our viewers who have just tuned in, is hearing the case and has summoned LK Advani along with the 9 others in Lucknow today. In fact, he even got an opportunity to meet the Chief Minister of the state, Yogi Adityanath, at the VIP guest house in Lucknow before he head for the special CBI court.
जितने लोग आए थे, माननीय अडवाणी जी, जोशी जी, सभी लोग निजी मुजल्के पे छूट गए हैं। डिस्चार्ज एप्लीकेशन बचाव पक्ष की तरफ से हम लोगों ने मूव किया था। डिस्चार्ज एप्लीकेशन पर कोर्ट ने अभी जजमेंट लिखा रही है। वो अगर अलाउ करते हैं तो मुकदमा नहीं चलेगा और डिस्चार्ज पे अगर उसको रिजेक्ट करते हैं तो चार्ज फ्रेम होंगे। डिस्चार्ज एप्लीकेशन पे हमने वही कहा है जो पहले भी कहते रहे हैं कि इन लोगों का कोई मेड आउट केस नहीं होता है। इनका बाबरी स्ट्रक्चर के विध्वंस में किसी तरह से योगदान नहीं था। ये लगातार क्राउड को रोक रहे थे, यही हमारा कहना है।
Grant of bail is not at all.
Oh, and we have on our broadcast Shazia Almi from the BJP, Aishwarya Bhatti, who's a senior court, Supreme Court senior lawyer, and Ghanshyam Tiwari of the Samajwadi Party. Mr. Ghanshyam Tiwari, I'm going to come to you first. You've been accusing the BJP and Shazia Almi of, speaking white lies, giving false logic. But the point is that your leader, Mulayam Singh Yadav, had also ordered the firing on car sevaks. He himself had admitted, a decision that he had taken had caused him enough pain. But it also earned him the sobriquet of Mullah Mulayam and unflinching support of Muslims in the state of Uttar Pradesh. Your party, in fact, has been accused of catering to your vote bank as well during that time.
Well, I would not go into the circumstances of what happened. It was a decision by the government, and he has explained that
no, but it was also related to this particular case.
Decision.
It was related to the Ram Bhoomi movement as well.
As far as situation is concerned, yes, it was. It was. But as far as this particular case is concerned, we are very clear that if this case is in the court, all the matters related to the court related to the case will be discussed in the court. The politics of fanning religious tensions is not something that we, Samajwadi Party, aspire to pursue. This is a home ground for BJP. Even today, when we see the Chief Minister leading this entire thing, and we see the Chief Minister going tomorrow to Ram Janmabhoomi, he wants to communicate the same thing. He is not concerned about the politics of employment. the politics of prosperity for farmers, or the crime against women, which are on the rise, or the
but these are two separate things altogether, Mr. Ghanshyam Tiwari. In fact, let me just bring in Shazia Almi there.
5 years of governance. They are not. When we see a chief minister,
yes,
when we see a sitting chief minister leading this entire political movement once again, almost wishing that this political movement is revived. When we see sitting union ministers gloating in the political capital that they can gain from this, right? That makes us worry that whether this government is serious about employment, because they have not created any jobs in past 3 years. In the past 2 months,
okay, stay on with me, Mr. Ghanshyam Tiwari. I'll just have to interrupt you there. We're getting in some breaking news. Shazia, I'll just come to you. And welcome to our continuing coverage on the hearing in the special CBI court in Lucknow. That is the big news coming in. The special CBI court ready to frame charges against BJP veterans LK Advani, Murli Manohar Joshi, Bharti and the others accused. Conspiracy charges will be framed against the accused involved in the Babri Masjid demolition case. A quick reaction coming in from... okay, let's go straight across now to India Today's correspondent Shiv Pujan Jha. Shiv, first, there was the bail that was granted, and now the framing of charges that will take place against all of those accused in the Babri Masjid demolition case. What are the kind of reactions you're getting in from the defense lawyers?
Well, the defense lawyer is primarily maintaining that the bail was on the expected lines, because eventually in this particular case, one can get a bail. The personal appearance was required in the court, so the personal appearance took place. These people, they were asked to make certain signatures on the personal bond of 20,000 each. They were given the bail. After that, in fact, the defense lawyers, they had moved the say rejection petition. They wanted that all the cases on these people, it should be removed. But the court did not take a lenient view on that, and apparently now the charges would be framed. There would be day-to-day hearing. The defense is now maintaining that it will move the higher court of law against this particular observation and this particular judgment by the court.
Absolutely. Shazia Almi, do you see this as a bit of a disappointment coming in there, a bit of a setback for the BJP with the framing of charges to begin now? It also marks the beginning of a long drawn trial that needs to be wrapped up in the next 2 years. Of course, those charges need to be proved in the first place with substantial evidence, but your first initial response?
I think there needs to be closure on this matter, not just for the people at large and on all those who have suffered, but also the accused who have been going through a long-standing political trial where this is concerned, after the Liberhan Commission and 25 years of pendency. So I think it's important that the trial should have been sped up earlier and fast-tracked, but at least now it will happen. Yes, the mere bail is being offered, but the hearing will continue. But the charge of criminal conspiracy will have to be proved.
Yes.
There is enough evidence already given, but now more evidence will be needed and more cross-examination will be done, and substantial evidence will be given to establish beyond doubt that there was indeed an intent and a conspiracy, a premeditated plan to garner support in order to destroy the structure, the medieval structure that is disputed.
Absolutely, and that's for the courts to decide. That's for the courts to decide, ma'am.
The Prime Minister and his council.
Right. And if I take you back to that time, you may say that right now there was no intent, there was no intentional conspiracy. But if we speak about Mr. LK Advani, who's 89 years old now, at that time he was leading the Rath Yatra. It's for the courts to decide whether there was conspiracy. But don't you think at that point of time, that particular movement whipped up passions across the country, which eventually led to those unfortunate communal riots and violence that were witnessed across the country?
But one can argue both ways. One can argue that the Rajiv Gandhi's decision to actually unlock the doors and get the Ramlala Mandir was responsible, which led to this. So, and before that, Rajiv Gandhi's decision to change the verdict of Shah Bano led to the decision of opening of unlock the Babri Masjid, the Ram Mandir temple. So I don't know what is the cause in this matter, but effect is what we saw. But you have to establish clearly, legally, constitutionally, that the onus will be on the prosecution, and so the accused can only be charge sheeted if the charges are proven. And for that we'll have to wait. As for the political question that you keep asking, I think it is up to the Prime Minister and we shall take a decision in concurrence with the Council of Ministers. Okay. Whether he wants to keep Uma Bharti ji as a minister or not.
Okay, and
so
keeping
this is
politics
entirely the decision of the Prime Minister and his cabinet.
Yes.
But as far as...
yes. Shazia, I'm just going to take my next question to Aishwarya. Aishwarya, keeping the, all of the politics aside, legally speaking, the famous saying, justice delayed is justice denied. It's been 25 years now. Don't you think that prima facie a case has already been found against the accused? Otherwise, why would the Supreme Court intervene? Why would the CBI take up the matter once again? Why would, these conspiracy charges be leveled against all of the accused in the Babri Masjid demolition case?
So, Avantika, framing of charges does mean that prima facie case has been found. Like I was explaining that, in the charge sheet, the prosecuting agency investigates and compiles all the evidence that it has found and files it in the court in the form of a charge sheet. So all that evidence has proved or pointed towards a prima facie case. Now that evidence has to be tested on the touchstone of the criminal jurisprudence of the country. So testing of that evidence is what will happen in the trial. So prima facie case has been found, yes, but that prima facie case will have to be now tested on the principles of criminal jurisprudence, proved beyond the shadows of all reasonable doubt for this prima facie case to turn into a conviction. So it is still a long journey.
Yes.
And, delay, the second issue of delay, of course, that is a problem that has infested our criminal justice system like termites. It is a very serious issue. We have seen it happening, and it happens more in high-profile cases because all interim orders or all interlocutory orders are challenged from both sides, right up to the highest court of the land. But now the directions are given, and it's delay of justice is not just for the victims. Delay of justice is also for the accused who have this Damocles sword keep on hanging on their head.
Absolutely.
Also, the evidence gets spoiled.
Absolutely.
The evidence gets destroyed. The witnesses turn hostile. So,
right.
Delay in justice is very, very, counterproductive in all the manners.
Right.
And I hope that now it can be fast-tracked.
Absolutely. And we'll carry on with this conversation. Aishwarya and Shazia Almir, request you to stay on. But the big news is that the CBI Special Court will file conspiracy charges against all of the 12 accused under Section 120B. And this is related to the Babri Masjid demolition case. Stay tuned. News and updates on the other side.